Welcome back to The Grind. In this video, we are going to talk about some very exciting news that Sepulla is getting a buff and it should be going live today. I am very excited to finally be able to share this news and the details that will be changing with Sepulla. I know that it's difficult when you see something like Sepulla being so underwhelming and not knowing what the plan is as far as a buff or what will be changing. And I know it is hard to trust sometimes that PG will make things better, especially because a lot of times they don't. But unfortunately, a lot of details are not able to be shared early on, or at least not from players who are involved. Now, I was lucky enough to be a part of testing out some changes and offering some input. I was unable to share the fact that we were making adjustments, though, because of certain restrictions that apply. I was wishing that they would make an announcement, but I know a lot of people had been asking me to continue pushing for changes, and believe me and a bunch of the others were doing that. Now, part of the reason that Sepulla was so difficult to fix and to make usable was that the design of the dragon was to primarily allow the summon to be the source of damage, and that the dragon itself, the goal was to just protect it. And so once the summon died, the dragon itself had really nothing that it could do to defeat a base and would die rather quickly. So some of the changes are to better help protect the summon with some added skill, but also to give the dragon itself a little bit more potential to do some damage and protect itself. So Sepulla was having difficulty surviving attacks on larger bases while also too easily destroying smaller ones. We want to push the power of this dragon to fulfill its role as a mythic and give it a better chance against stronger bases. These changes are aimed at pulling some of the raw power out of the summon and putting it into Sepulla's spells, reducing the power up front in exchange for long-term survivability. A vast majority of the potential changes would make this dragon usable on bases that were longer, like with 3 to 4 or more max tower islands. However, in doing so, would make it literally impossible to stop against a 1 to 3 island base. And nobody wants a mythic to come out that a 0 skill flyer could wipe their base on, and the majority of players in the game don't have more than 3 maxed islands. But I do feel that the changes that are being applied to Sepulla do make Sepulla a much more viable dragon, especially against short bases such as 1 to 2 island bases. Sepulla will be much stronger. Against 3 to 4 island bases, Sepulla will be difficult to fly, but not impossible. And now I'm most excited to say that Sepulla does now have a way to deal with the howitzer tower. And I do apologize for the lack of excitement in these slides. This was very short notice and I did want to get the information out as soon as possible. So here are the spell changes. Rest in peace, the summon. The breath attack damage was reduced a bit from to 1.8% of Sepulla's HP, which is decreased down from 2.5. So now if you boost up Sepulla's HP, you will be adding more attack to the summon, which is great. The summon deals a lot of damage still, especially with the spells that increase the damage the towers take. And now, Deathly Shriek, the duration of the freeze effect is increased from 2 seconds to 3.5 seconds, which is huge. That helps a lot. And Ashes to Ashes was intended as a target kill spell, sort of, on 2 casts, but it wasn't really living up to what they were hoping for. So they swapped out the old Ashes to Ashes for a new spell. It will still be called Ashes to Ashes, but this spell provides a freeze along with fairly high damage to give players a much better sense of control. And it really does give you a lot more control over an island. And especially with defenders, if you know what towers they're going to super shot, you can use that more effectively. So now Ashes to Ashes is a white 1 rage spell with a 2.5 second freeze and a 5 radius, which doesn't mean a whole lot to a lot of players, but it quite easily hits 2 towers and very difficult in certain situations, can hit 3. It will freeze all towers in a target area for 2.5 seconds, which is fairly long, and damages them for 20% of the dragon's modified HP. Not only that, but it also provides Sepulla with a shield of 40% every time it hits a tower, or every time you cast the spell. Now, it is important to note that the shield only protects Sepulla from taking damage, but the damage that you are inflicted on the dragon is still taken out of the summon. So you will not lose health from Sepulla, but the summon will still slowly lose health while the shield is active. But we did test it working this way, and it was working well enough that way. It did seem to help still. But that is something that is important to keep an eye on, and to understand that the summon can still lose health while you are shielded with that Ashes to Ashes spell. So this new Ashes to Ashes spell has a couple awesome effects. If you come around the corner and use Deathly Shriek, the towers will take increased damage. And then if you use Ashes to Ashes on an equal tier base, most of the time you should actually destroy those towers that you hit with Ashes to Ashes, because the damage is boosted. And if not, you should be able to destroy it with one of the auto attack or the regular attacks from Sepulla. So it can be used somewhat as a one-shot spell if you've applied Death Shriek the freeze already. Also, it is very effective at countering howitzers on the back of an island, because the Ashes to Ashes flight speed is fairly quick, so you can actually hit the back of an island and hit the howitzer and freeze it before getting hit by the howitzer shot. So this is huge for Sepulla, because previously Sepulla was literally dead in the water because you couldn't get close enough to the howitzer to freeze it before you get hit, especially with the howitzer range glitch that I do not think has been fixed yet, which is quite frustrating, and hopefully that gets fixed soon. But still, even with the glitch, Sepulla can counter that quite effectively. I am also very happy to point out that we will be getting access to Sepulla to test again with the buffs, so that we can make some more gameplay and better comparisons for you to help you decide which dragon you want to go for. I know it's getting late in the season, but I would recommend holding off on commitments if you haven't yet already, so that you can see a little bit more from all the creators factions gameplay and comments about the new Sepulla to see if it's a dragon that you would like to go for. And I will do my best to get some gameplay footage out as soon as I can, but I do think that Sepulla is at a much better place now, with a lot more balance than it used to be. Even though it will be very easy to destroy bases that are only 1 to 2 islands long, most mythics are able to do that quite easily anyways. So I hope this video was helpful, and let me know what you think of these changes in the comments section below, and good luck with the upcoming event and the remainder of this season, and I will see you in the next video.